Hello everyone, welcome to a second royal reading today here at MadWorldTarot. It's a Tuesday. As I'm doing this, it's the Gemini new moon for what it's worth. And I still have the Deviant Moon Tarot on the tarot table, talking about new moons. We're talking about moons and things that go bump along with the moon today, allegedly, shall we say. And this is the serious reading. The first reading I did was a slightly frivolous reading about a Radar online article about Meghan Markle and her divorce body that she's trying to get tightened up in various rather intimate places because she's popped out those two babies, allegedly. The serious version of the reading of the story now comes from something Lady C was talking about a couple of days ago. Basically, the royal family is very concerned, and I'm paraphrasing, so don't blame Lady C for anything that I'm saying here now. Royal family is very concerned that if push comes to shove and Meghan Markle's alleged use of the thing that goes bump is exposed, then she's going to drag the royal family down with her. She's going to play the race card. She's going to blame them. She's going to say that they made her do it. They did not want a biracial baby in the royal family, in the line of succession. And so they forced her to use surrogates, and they forced her to use someone else's eggs. Harry's children, someone else's eggs. That is basically the gist of what Lady C was alluding to a couple of days ago. It's a very serious situation for the royal family if this is true. It puts them in an extremely difficult position. They've got Meghan's personal health information that they've got to tread very carefully around, medical privacy, all of that stuff. Then they've got the Commonwealth, and we saw how difficult it was for William and Catherine when they toured the Caribbean a few years ago. Things got quite tricky for them in the Caribbean, and so Meghan could really stir things up in certain parts of the world if she was to claim this, and if people were to believe her just without doing any investigation or without the royal family being able to defend themselves, really, it could get very ugly. It could get very damaging. So as I say, this is a very serious situation, potentially for the royal family, if she decides to go down this road. So I'm interested to look at this situation now. I'm interested to see how worried she is about being exposed for allegedly using a bump, using surrogates, and is she going to play the race card? Is this something that she's prepared to do? Harry, how worried is Harry about being exposed? Would he go along with her and really destroy his family, his birth family in the process, like he did on Oprah? He went along with the things that Meghan was alleging, things that turned out later on to be lies in some cases, shall we say allegedly. Then we look at the royal family. How worried are they about this? And what would they do in this situation? What would they be planning to do? Maybe they have worked this one out and they've got a game plan. We're going to ask what they're intending to do about it. And then we'll look at the public and the reception of this kind of a story. How damaging would it be to the royal family if Meghan were to go down this road of blaming the royals and claiming that they're such terrible racists that, you know, she was forced to do this? It doesn't really stack up. Like many of her lies, they don't really stack up because, of course, you know, they were going to withhold the prince thing from Archie because he was biracial. So it wouldn't be the easiest scenario for her to paint, because it could quite easily be debunked from that point of view. And I'm sure there are people out there who are just itching to debunk things like that, those internet sleuths. But we are going to just look at this situation, and we are going to remind you as it was presented by Lady C, and we're going to remind you it's tarot and it's for fun and entertainment, and it is all my opinion and all speculation, and we just test the energy of these kinds of rumors and speculative stories. And there is a disclaimer in the box below, and please read it, and please do your own research, and please form your own opinions. A very interesting card as our underlying energy, with the lady here with the 2 pentacles that she is juggling. And choices, twos are always about choices. Where do you put your emphasis? Where do you put your energy? And if you've got 2 options, which one are you really going to focus on? Which one are you going to make sure grows and blossoms into something? Potentially even poisonous in this case, because we're in a dark tarot with a deviant moon tarot. So it's interesting. She hasn't decided yet. And as I say, not that straightforward for her. She would have to figure the story out quite carefully, and she'd have to row back some of the other stories that she's told us in the meantime. And all those podcasts she's just done where she's made some quite wild claims about actual pregnancies that she claims to have experienced. So not easy for her. She's contemplating it. She's juggling. She's deciding which of those pentacles gets her attention, which way it's going to go. It's interesting that there are 2 pentacles very much egg-like, and we've got 2 children there, basically, and the circumstances around the 2 children might be quite different, and that might be one of the reasons why there's a hesitation in this 2 of Pentacles energy that I'm reading, with that moon hanging in the sky rather ominously there. And our new moon today, let's bring this old Scratch out. Old Scratch is looking at me from the bottom of the deck. Why not? Scratch, lies, toxicity, being chained to something that is poisonous and destructive, whether it's a habit or a person or a narrative or something. So there we go. Interesting that he's creeping along after her, don't you think? The way the 2 cards sit together. Of course, just tarot for fun situation we're dealing with. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with another 2. This time it's the 2 of Wands, and it's in reverse. Plans unraveling. It can also be the 2 of Wands, plans that can be in reverse for me reading this energy. Plans that can be quite secretive, quite undermining, rather than upfront and clear and positive, and this is what I want to do, and this is who I want to partner with, and this is what I want to achieve, like a business plan and a deal. In reverse, there might be deals that have been made that have been rather secretive, for instance with another woman to carry your child, or to be an egg donor or something like that. Those kinds of plans that can be a little bit, as I say, hidden, but generally plans unraveling, partnerships unraveling as well. Could it be that one of these women around is wanting to say something, or Harry is wanting out, or something like that? That showed up in the previous reading, the more light-hearted take on this situation. Let's have a look and see how worried Meghan is about being exposed. We looked in the previous reading, and she did look quite bothered by this whole thing. We've got the Strength card, and that's very much her. That's her as a Leo, but it's her as part of the Harry and Meghan story, the Sussex brand, Sussex Royal. It's Sussex now. Looking united, looking powerful, looking strong together. She's still quite intent on being dominant, on dominating the royal family. I think that she still believes that she can quash this somehow. If she just keeps pushing it down and pushing it down and pushing it down, you get that energy in this depiction of the Strength card. She keeps at it. She will dominate. She will be victorious. And that, I would say, not a mental health expert at all, and I'm not diagnosing, but that I imagine is part of what people ascribe or describe as her narcissism. So that's how anxious is she about this whole thing unraveling. 2 of Wands in reverse. And would she go down this path if she had to, if the situation got sticky for her, or more sticky than it is already, would she play the race card and blame the royals and say they made her do it, the racist royals, they're so mean and cruel? I've got the Page of Swords in reverse. I would say that is a yes. Page of Swords is all about bracing for impact, basically strategizing, planning. And when it's in reverse, it's doing research, it's getting your ducks in a row, it's gathering evidence, it's snooping around on social media. It's that kind of energy. It's not a very nice card, but it's being prepared for whatever is coming your way, the Page of Swords. And because it's in reverse, it's being prepared for criticism. It can be quite a sneaky little card as well when it's in reverse, and it can be, I'm going to take them down. If I'm going down, they're going down with me. It's reading like that for me, that Page of Swords in reverse. Just have to say it's my personal interpretation of the energy that's coming off that card. So let's move on. That's Meghan. Let's look at Harry now. How worried is Harry about this alleged use of surrogates, moon bumps, egg donors, all the rest of it? How worried is he about this whole thing coming out? And we'll check the allegedly all over it. Got the, oh yeah, he's very worried about it. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. I thought he might be the weak link in this story. Look at his energy compared with hers. She's still very cocksure, that Strength card. He's the one who's feeling that his life has gone up in flames since the start of this year. Start of this year, they were the disaster tourists, and things just got progressively worse after that. It seems a lifetime ago that they were being denounced for being disaster tourists. So much has happened, and for Harry, so much has gone wrong. Even though he had those Invictus Games in Canada, and he had some good moments, but they were basically overshadowed by herself and her launching herself on Instagram while he was still in the thick of the Invictus Games in Canada. His Wheel of Fortune is in reverse. His luck is on the floor. His popularity has plummeted. Everything that he's touched has gone wrong, and it's gone wrong spectacularly. If this were to happen, if this were to come out now, whatever this is, it would be disaster. He sees it as absolutely disastrous. It would be the kind of setback that old dimwit that he is, even he can read as being possibly one too many. This is the end. People won't forgive this. That's how that energy is reading for me, Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Would he back her? If she were to say, you know, I told you on Oprah, I couldn't tell you the real truth on Oprah, but what was really going on was so much worse, would Harry say, oh yes, and that's why, you know, she wanted to unalive herself and all the rest of it, because she was being forced to lie to the public and she didn't want to do that, but they made her. Would he back her? I've got the Six of Swords, and it does look like he would. He would join forces. You can see him. He's in that little hot air balloon. She's leading the way, that moon. She's leading the way. He's in that hot air balloon with her. They are traveling away. They are going overseas, and they went overseas together when allegedly things got rather hot for them in the UK because of what happened at Birkenhead, that infamous day where the press were there, and the press saw things that were very embarrassing and very difficult to explain away. And from then on, it was open warfare between the Parkles and the press. And that is journeying away from conflict and from difficulty. That isn't Harry leaving her. I don't see it reading like that. I'm getting, you can see the flames down there in the corner, and them traveling away from those flames. They're going away together, trying to, whether they will successfully extricate themselves from this mess. It's funny that I was talking about disaster tourism, and then there the fire has literally shown up in the corner of that card, and I have literally never noticed that fire in the corner of the Six of Swords in this Deviant Moon Tarot. So let's move on to the royal family. Is the royal family dreading this? Are they worried about this? Is this something that keeps them awake at night? How do they feel about this? I got the Knight of Pentacles. That's a very solid card. It's solid and stable. That's not worry. The little voice is saying to me as I'm looking at that card and saying that it's not worry. They jolly well should be worried. If they're not worried, they jolly well should be. Because this is serious in here. The energy of threat and menace and intention that's coming through to me as an energy reader. Knight of Pentacles, somebody who's solid, somebody you can count on, somebody who does the right thing. The Knight of Pentacles, slow but steady energy. I think, and I'm getting that this is King Charles, I think that the king thinks that Harry wouldn't do it. Ha, is what the little voice is saying. Ha. I'm not getting that is Prince William's energy. I was reading them as the royals. I should really have separated them out, but I'm getting that that's the king, and the king thinks no, Harry wouldn't do it. And you know, maybe there are conversations going on in the background between the king's people and Harry's people about things to do with children, as I read on yesterday. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see what happens in the next few months. But are they preparing? And I guess we're going into William energy now. How would they respond if these kinds of wild allegations were made? Then we get the Knight of Swords, a quite different energy, and it's in reverse. Very similar to the Page of Swords over there in reverse, which I got from Meghan. Now we get the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords in reverse. To me, that's Prince William's energy. So even though I didn't ask, I did consider it, and then I thought, no, let's keep this reading tight. Let's not get all, refer to previous reading. Knight of Swords is Prince William's energy of attack, of being prepared, being ready to play dirty. That Knight of Swords in reverse for me is he's prepared to get pretty messy if he needs to. Aggressive. The Knight of Swords is all about mental acuity and being very smart, very quick to react, quick to jump into something. In reverse, it can be too quick, it can be too aggressive, or not quick enough, not aggressive enough, not clever enough, not shrewd enough, all those kinds of things. I'm not worried about that kind of energy in this card here. I'm getting plain and simple, oh yes. If Pa thinks that he can count on the has-been to be honourable, Prince William thinks quite differently. That's how it's reading for me. It's my personal opinion, and I might be quite wrong. As I say, this is just me reading cards for fun and entertainment, but I think that there are preparations being made. I would say things like strategies. I think they might have gamed this out. I'm getting that kind of thing. If this happens, then that. If this happens, then that. And then that, and then that, and then that. I think they've done a whole board of what ifs and then that kind of strategy. I think he might have got intelligence involved. We know he visits them periodically to check up on what's what with them. I think he's got that kind of information. I think he's got inside information from people. When I said plans, unraveling, partnerships, unraveling, is one of these women prepared to speak, maybe not publicly, but possibly to that Knight of Swords in reverse. That's courtiers, that's secret service type of people. That's that kind of thing. I'm getting a whole game plan. Secret, strategic, dirty as it needs to be. Might be through intermediaries like the press, someone taking a hit that the royal family will secretly back up. That kind of energy is coming through there. Sorry, I went on a big rant about it, but a lot came through in that card, which tells me that a lot has been thought through about this, a lot has been prepared, which is very gratifying. So let's get to the outcome. Finally, public. perception? How damaging would this story, if Meghan were to go down this route, this road, how damaging would it be to the royal family from the public's point of view, bearing in mind that many people out in the world would just take it at face value and believe her? How damaging to the royal family? We've got the Lovers in reverse. It could make large numbers of people really give up on the royal family. Just think, we don't want to be part of that story anymore. And I've read on the Commonwealth quite a few times, and what kind of legacy is there going to be for Prince William and even Prince George? And I don't see it. I don't see it staying the distance, and that tells me right there that I think it would fall apart at that level. Something else might come along, a different shape, different shapings of countries. Just getting a strange idea because it's a Gemini card. There's a Gemini in the United States right now. He's very powerful, who's doing a lot of disrupting. Whether you like it or loathe it, there's a lot of disrupting going on with that energy of structures that have held for quite a long time. I'm going off on a tangent, but it's coming through with that card. So it's not going to go down well. It's going to be very, very difficult for the royal family. Make no mistake about it. And what's interesting about this card is that it's a biracial couple that are dancing here in this Lovers card that's now in reverse. And the vast majority of the members of the Commonwealth are not white. So it's rather sad when you think of the legacy and the work that went into building up the Commonwealth, and the good that it did in the world when the world was very much divided into factions, Cold War kind of scenario, and the Commonwealth kind of bridged some of that at some level. And no, I'm not an expert on geopolitics, just a random thought. How about damage to Meghan herself? And let's throw Harry into the mix as well, but mainly Meghan. How would they view Meghan? Would they fall for it? Would they believe it? They being, of course, 9 million people. Got the King of Cups. King of Cups is interesting because we have a King of Cups, King Charles, but we have a King of Cups in waiting, Prince William. My first thought was there's some sympathy, some compassion for Meghan, King of Cups, because it's an emotion thing, it's emotional maturity, it's not overreacting to situations, the King of Cups, but in a compassionate way, being quite responsive to something and warm and whatever. So they might feel sorry for her. But they're not going to go overboard with that energy. That's the first thing that I need to say. That's the least of the energy in that card, though. The lesser energy. There's two energies in this card, so that's the smaller part of the energy. The majority of the energy is going to Prince William. And I think personally that if this story unfolds the way Lady C was indicating it might, if Meghan is pressed, if she finds herself in a corner, basically, and she decides to go down this road, maybe in her memoir, maybe wait for the moment to land the biggest blow to the royal family, maybe as William ascends to the throne, trying to do maximum damage to the royal family, trying to land that blow that's indicated in the Lovers in reverse. It looks like he's going to emerge as a very powerful figure, and a figure of compassion even. That people are going to look at him and respect him and think, we like you, we like your energy, we like the way you run things, we like the way you treat people, we like the way you communicate, we like your family, we like your values. Very much a values card as well, loyalty, those kinds of values. So it might not go so well for herself. It's not going to be a disaster for her. Maybe there is no earthly disaster for her. But that's an okay energy for William personally, I think. But as far as the Commonwealth is concerned, I think it could be over if she does this. Just saying. So it's a big story. Lady C was maybe launching the story to try and get it to pick up and get people looking at it and talking about it. What did I say about the Knight of Swords in reverse? Using other agencies. I'm not saying for one second that this is what is happening, but it's that kind of scenario that might be used if required. Knight of Swords in reverse. That is the reading. Always trouble when that one's on the tarot table. Always trouble as she dances her dance. Okay, that's the reading for today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow.